Hi there, welcome to the third episode of Bold Moves, a podcast for introverted female entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Angela Merzib. I share lessons learned, practical information, and inspiring stories to help introverts take control of their destinies and create a business that they love. If you feel like you need a little persuasion to help you make your own splash in this world, join me as I share stories of entrepreneurs who have made bold moves in their lives and their careers to inspire you to get out there and do your own thing. I want to help you bridge the gap between your ideas and your action so that you can have the confidence to go out there, use your introvert superpowers, and make things happen. Let me introduce our next guest. Her name is Lindsay White. She is the owner of High Voltage Coaching. She is an experienced personal coach and HR consultant who is deeply passionate about helping people uncover their inner brilliance and achieve their dreams. Her company, High Voltage Coaching, is the extension cord that will plug you into your own inner brilliance and help you find incredible resources inside yourself to make it happen. Lindsay is our third guest from the No Tribe Calgary book, a book of women entrepreneurs you should know and do business with. You can find her on page 45 of the book and at thenotribe.com, and you can also find her business website at highvoltagecoaching.ca. Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being on today.
Yeah,
so I love the name of your business, High Voltage Coaching, and the statement that you're the extension cord that will plug into your own inner brilliance. That paints such a vivid picture. Can you tell us a bit about the name, how you brought your personality into your brand, and about who you love working with?
Yeah. So High Voltage Coaching actually comes out of my own personal life purpose statement, which is that I am the high voltage extension cord that plugs you into your inner brilliance. So High Voltage Coaching is really an extension of my mission and my personal purpose. And so when I was involved in my coach training, I received some wonderful coaching, not only from a mentor coach, but also from my colleagues. And they really helped me develop that and really helped me embrace that I really am a high voltage person. So I thought that that was the perfect name for my business.
Awesome. It is. It sounds to
Yeah.
me. And you do have an interesting life purpose statement. Can you tell us what it is and how it is you came up with it?
Yeah, so in the process of really learning how to be a coach, it's one of the tools that we use. And so we were able to sort of try it out on each other. And it's the opportunity to use a metaphor to really describe the why, right? Like Simon Sinek always talks about the why. So that's my very personal why. And it encompasses a number of my most important values. So things like being connected, things like being authentic, things like, really the kindness piece is in there as well. And those are some of my most important values. So, and really being of service to others. And that's, helping others inspire their own inner brilliance. It also speaks to sort of the philosophy that I approach my coaching and consulting from. And that is that you likely have many, if not most of the answers that you already need from a personal and also from a business perspective. You just need someone like me to help you find them or explore perspectives. And so those are really important factors that sort of all link into that life purpose statement for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned that when you were doing your training, this is when you came up with it.
Yeah.
So take us through, you had a career switch, you were in HR for a while, and you decided to make the move and become a certified coach. Can you tell us a little bit about that transition?
Yeah, so I had a decade-long career in HR. And I'd chosen that very specifically, and I had worked my way up. I had gathered some different certifications and some letters behind my name along the way. And then about 2 years ago, I was, like many, working for, sort of a toxic leader that happens to a lot of us. And I decided that it just wasn't working for me anymore. Coaching had always been a big part of my HR practice corporately, and I knew it was something, a skill set I wanted to strengthen. So I had already committed to a coaching certification program through, it's called CTI. It used to be Coach Training Institute. It's now Coactive Training Institute. And so when I left my corporate job, I dove straight into my coach training, and I spent basically an entire year learning how to be really master coaching and the technique. And so it was the most exciting, most vulnerable year of my entire life. Like, really had to explore a lot of my own pieces along the way. And that's the best part about it, right? You're not only learning how to be a coach, but you're also sort of the test subject for all your colleagues. So I was really lucky. It was just a really powerful learning experience.
Yeah. And do you think that your mission statement, maybe you wouldn't have come to it as quickly or as well as you would have if you hadn't have done that training?
Yeah, totally. I absolutely give all the credit to my coaching colleagues that were in my cohort. They were the ones that really inspired and spurred and challenged me to really uncover and to really embrace the high voltage pieces of myself. I think my corporate career had really dulled them. So it was really an important part of not only my professional learning process, but really my personal process to uncover that high voltageness and how I can leverage that in my coaching and in my consulting.
So finding your superpower and using
Yeah,
that.
totally. That's exactly it. That's my superpower.
Yeah. I always ask my clients about what's your superpower, and it's amazing that a lot of people haven't considered that. So, but it's good to tap into that, because that's where everything stems from, right? That's your why. Right. So you mentioned that in your training, you learned to use the coactive model of coaching. Yes. Okay, what is coactive model, and how does it differ from other coaching styles?
Yeah, so the coactive is really, it's about combining the being, which is the co piece, and then the action, which is of course the active piece. So it's about the state of being and doing that are really aligned. And so often in our busy daily lives, our busy societies, our very goal-driven environments that we live and work in, we are very, very good at the doing, and we get a lot done. But what we fail to consider is the being, and most importantly, who we want to be in the doing. And so when we lose that, we lose the why, we lose the purpose of all the doing, of all the activities, of all the time we spend. So it's absolutely to have a purpose and a why to your being. And that's the foundational pieces around values, what our values are, how they show up for us, how we live them every day. It's about having a life purpose statement that accurately reflects sort of who you are and why you are here, like what you are meant to do and accomplish with your life, and then designing the actions that go along with it. Right? So that's really the coactive model is a style of coaching that just provides a really lovely framework for the coaching. It's not a process. It isn't, some coaching frameworks are, I sort of ask this set of questions and then we move to this section of questions and then this one. It's a little bit more prescribed. Whereas coactive coaching really allows the coach and the client to co-create, right? In a space that is really all about the client's agenda. So it's really what appealed to me, so that I can coach each of my clients in the way that they require.
Is that tough for you then? Because it's almost like you're custom creating a plan every time for every person. Does that get to be a bit tough, or is there at least somewhere that you start the groundwork and then
there absolutely are some foundational pieces. And there's a few technique pieces in there as well to sort of accomplish specific things. So one of the foundational pieces for me, I believe very strongly in values work. So I do a lot of upfront work with my clients around really uncovering their value, and not just the word. So lots of us will have a value around success, but it's what that word actually means to you as an individual, and how that shows up for you every day in your life. So for you, being successful could be very different from what it means for me. So that there's some foundational sort of pieces that you do sort of upfront, and that's not only does that help us as coaches learn about the client, but it also helps the client sort of create the building blocks for the coaching. And then yes, every conversation is really, you have a sort of a greater overarching agenda for what you want to accomplish in a coaching relationship. But every conversation, the client brings something to the table to discuss. The truth is, it's about coaching the person, not the problem, right? So you really are focusing on the individual in a deep and meaningful way, and allowing them to not only to express what they need to in a trusting, sort of loving, really beautiful container, but also digging into it with them, holding them accountable. I use a lot of intuition in my coaching. So, really feeling into what is not being said, what they're not expressing, what they're not even acknowledging in some places, and really bringing that to them and to their awareness to sort of create something every time that is new and different. And actually, that's what makes it really powerful, is it's not prescriptive.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time we spoke is about your intuition, and I guess, do you see that as another one of your superpowers that you bring into your career?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also contributes to the high voltageness, right? There's something about, there's something about that electricity that high voltage image elicits, that it is unseen. And so for me, the intuition is something that is unseen, but it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, to me, I just think that you're really plugged in to your client, right?
Yeah.
That's the image that comes to mind, because when you're plugged in, you can see things that maybe other people wouldn't see.
And that they don't even see about themselves.
About themselves, exactly.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
good skill to have. I'm the same way with clients. They'll tell me, how did you came up with this design or this brand or whatever? And it's like, you went into my head and you reached in and you just, I couldn't even express it, but I don't know if it's something you have intuitively, like you were born with it, or if you learn to develop this. I'm not sure, but I think I was always kind of able to do that.
I have a theory.
Okay.
I believe that we all have an intuition.
Okay.
I just think some of us are able to use it a bit more effectively. I think there's practice that goes into it.
Yeah,
Like, I think for a long time in my corporate job, in the roles that I was in, I wasn't allowed to use it. Or if I did bring it to the table, it was kind of shut down or shut off. And so again, through the coach training, I was really encouraged to tap into that. Like, that's a big part of the coactive coaching model, is leveraging this intuition that you innately have and really listening to it and blurting it out, like just offering it without any attachment, right? So when I'm in a coaching conversation with a client, it's not about me, it's about them, right? It is absolutely fully in service of what they need in that moment, in that hour, in that space, right? And the intuition is and so I just blurt it out. And I'm not attached to it if they don't like it or it's not useful or valuable. But sometimes, not even sometimes, a lot of the time, it's amazing. It's magical, because again, it's things they aren't even aware of about themselves, right?
Yeah, and you may as well throw it out there, because you never know. It could, create an aha moment for them. And if not, like you say, we just throw it aside and keep going, right?
Totally.
So what should people, like, there's all kinds of business coaches out there. There's ones that have been trained, have not been trained. What should people be looking for when they're hiring a business coach? And
That is a really, really great question. So the first thing I would suggest is if you are looking for a coach, whether it's for yourself personally or because you are in business, the first thing you want to look for is, do they have an ICF certification? That's in the International Coach Federation, which is the overarching governing body for coaches globally. And so they standard for coaches in terms of their competency and their training and their experience. Because there are a wide variety of training and methodologies and modalities, but the ICF sort of creates the standard and sets the framework of what a foundational knowledge for coaches at three, there's sort of three different levels. And so that would be the very first thing that I would look for. Whether, again, personally, were you looking for a personal coach or you're looking for a professional business coach? I would also suggest that there is a difference that you need to be aware of between a coach and a consultant.
yes, that was my next question. So
Yeah. So a coach, a consultant gives you advice. Coaches and consultants will ask some of the same questions, but a consultant gives you advice and solutions. And I do that. I am a consultant and I provide talent, strategy, and people solutions to my clients. But when I wear that hat, I'm very clear that I'm giving advice and thoughts and expertise, right? Like I have experience to offer and there's education and stuff behind it. As a coach, I am not solving my clients' problems. I am not giving a lot of advice. I might offer insights, information, intuitions, again, but with no attachment. And I am coming to that client from the place that I believe that they actually have all the answers that they need. They just need some help to uncover them or understand them or develop a new awareness around them, right? So to me, consulting is, I need help and you have information I don't have. Coaching is, I have the information and I need someone to help me uncover it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. So consulting, you should be coming from a place of, I have personally done this before and these steps have worked for me.
Yes.
Whereas coaching, you might be coming into somebody's, business who you've never worked in that business or know much about the industry. So you have to help them uncover it through their own expertise.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
And so when you combine the two things of understanding, are they ICF certified? So they have a certain level of competency, with what is the combination of coaching and consulting that you are looking for? Then you can make a decision about a business coach that makes sense for you as a person, you as a business person, and then you and your business, right?
So would you say all coaches do some level of both coaching and consulting?
No, I think there's some coaches that really are very purely coaches. And I think that they are comfortable really playing in that space, and they don't give a lot of advice. They don't give a lot of experience. And then I think there's a broad section in the middle that probably combine it in a variety of ways and with a variety of different things. So, for me, combining it with talent or people strategy, some combine it with communications and marketing or social media strategy. Some combine it with, specifically around entrepreneurship. So there's a variety of combinations, but there are actually, I certainly have some colleagues that are they are very pure coaches. And that's really what they love to do.
So I guess that would be another follow-up question you could ask whoever you're interviewing is, are you more of a coach or more of a consultant? And even see if they know the difference between the two.
Exactly. Because a lot of people call themselves a coach, and the truth is they're actually a consultant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I could see that.
See
that. And I guess it depends on your style too. Do you feel like you're the kind of person that needs more of like, tell me what to do kind of thing, or not?
Yeah. And then I would say, find someone who has that past experience, or is it, I'm looking to build something and I just need someone to help me figure out what I want to build. Right. I am an expert, or I do know what I'm doing, or I do want to figure it out by myself. I don't need someone to tell me what to do. Then
Right.
maybe you need, and so that, when you enter into that relationship with your coach and consultant, then you want to clarify that right up front. What are you looking for when? Right? And how are you going to differentiate between the two things to make sure that you as a client really get what you need?
Yeah, and it is kind of a fine line too. So you're always
Uh,
having to check and balance yourself as a coach, probably in those two areas.
you have to have self-management, right? And I often talk to my clients about, okay, I'm going to take my coach hat off for a minute,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put my consultant hat on, and I'm going to give you some information that I think is valuable to you. So I'm very clear about differentiating which is which, because I think that that's really important to help my clients understand, right?
Yeah, it's good for them to know, okay, this is happening now, and to be
Yes.
cognizant of that,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
can know, okay, this is advice, and it may or may not suit me, so I can take it or leave it, to
Exactly.
know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who do you love working with? Who is your ideal client then?
Yeah. So my ideal client is a female entrepreneur who really is trying to find that balance and flow for herself in her life and her business, who really dearly desires to be a great leader in her business, or is trying to figure out what that leadership brand is for her, and then wants to bring a great leadership culture to her organization, and
Mhm.
really is at a place in her business where she needs some strategy around how she's going to manage and lead her people, and what that culture in her organization looks like. So that's really who I love working with those groups, because I can bring both my skill sets, the coaching and the talent consulting, to the table to really help them create something beautiful.
Okay, so solopreneurs as well as women who are in charge of employees,
Yeah.
all sizes of
Yes.
companies. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
okay. And what's the best part about what you do with your clients?
I think, there's a few things, but one of the most important things is that I get to see people transform.
Mhm.
So on a personal level, I get to see them really start to deeply connect with, sometimes what they've been missing about themselves, right? That is really, really powerful as a coach. I get to see people create change and transformation in their lives, that friendships, it radiates through their teams, and then I get to go into the business and I get to help them take their strategy to the next level, and create again transformation that impacts everyone in the business, right? So it is so amazing for me sometimes what the smallest change, the ripple effects that can happen.
Mm. So you work with not only the business leader, but the the teams and the employees in
Yeah.
their business as
Yeah. And that's the thing is because I have sort of this duality of skill sets,
well.
I can work one-on-one with a leader, but I can also help their entire team to be better personal leaders, right? Even if they don't have people, how do I show up as a leader here every day in my own job, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like it or not, you're seen as a leader, so you have to develop those skills if you don't have them already, to
Oh
be that
yeah.
effective leader. Yep, for
Well,
sure.
and many entrepreneurs get into business because they have a passion. They have a passion for a service or a product, and then they grow these wonderful businesses and they hire these people, but they still don't regard themselves as a leader. And the truth is, if you have more than one employee, you are a leader, whether you like it or not. So you have to build that skill sometimes. And some of it is recognizing that I, as a leader, am not showing up the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep, it all comes down from the top. So,
exactly.
yep,
Exactly.
you have to be that person that you want your team to be.
Exactly.
So on the flip side, what do you feel that you would love to see change in the coaching industry in general? Is there something that bugs you about the industry?
Yeah, I think, for me, I think it is the distinction between a coach and a consultant, I think is important. And I think there's a little bit of clouding with that term coach. I think a lot of people use the word coach. And so I think there's an opportunity in the industry to clarify and help individuals and teams and leaders understand what is the difference. And then I think that would absolutely strengthen everybody's position, coaches and consultants. Yeah, that I think there's an opportunity. And I know that the ICF is very conscious of that and is working towards sort of creating that sort of little stronger definition.
And I guess the whole coaching industry is not really a regulated industry.
No, it's not. And so I find I sometimes get clients that come to me after they've worked with a coach, and they come and say, geez, I didn't I spent a bunch of money and I didn't get anything accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think it is a bit of buyer beware. You need to know the right questions to ask. You need to do your research. You need to understand, what the certifications mean. And then you need to ask for what you want in the coaching or consulting relationship. But it can be really, really tricky, right? It can be really tricky to navigate, and you can spend a lot of money.
Yeah, you can. And just finding the right person for you, right?
Yes.
For your vibe, for your personality.
Exactly.
And all
Yeah.
that.
It's so true. And I mean, I'm high voltage, and I recognize that I'm not the right coach for everyone, right? You have to want to have that energy in your life as a person, in your life as a leader, in your business, as an organization. So you're right. Not every coach is for every person. And so lots of coaches will offer, sort of half an hour, sort of free introductory conversations. I do as well. I have offer free inspiration sessions. And so, I would say to an individual that's looking to, engage with a coach, do have a few of those conversations so you can pick the right fit for you.
Yeah. See, I'm an introvert, so I mean, I'd have a wild and crazy side too, but mostly, I'm kind of introverted, mellow, low key.
So maybe you need a little high voltage energy in your life.
Maybe.
Or maybe you want someone that, I don't know. And it would maybe depend even on the space you're in your life and in your business as to what kind of coach you want to engage.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can totally see that. Yeah. So as far as, going out and doing your own thing here, I think you did mention that you never thought you would be an entrepreneur. And I think a lot of people who do start their business, myself included, have been in that boat.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what made you do it and change your mind and take the leap?
Yeah, I mean, I'd been, gainfully employed for 25 years, basically straight. And so when I left my last organization, I really saw myself there for a very, very long time. And when I left, it was such a monumental shift for me. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't certain that I wanted to go back into that corporate structure right away. And again, it was through my coach training where I was really challenged to look at my own sort of preconceived notions, right? Mm-hmm. I had been a single mom for many years. And so the truth is I needed a paycheck every 2 weeks. I have, I met and married my husband. We've been together for several years. So I was in a different place now that I didn't have to have a paycheck every 2 years because I wasn't the biggest breadwinner anymore. So for me, it was a complete shift. My colleagues really challenged me to look at an incredible variety of perspectives, which is one of our coaching techniques. And it really opened up a door for me that, wait a minute, like I why am I selling myself short that I can't do this? Well, that's ridiculous. Right now, it just seems ridiculous that I ever thought that I couldn't do it. Well, of course I can. So many of us are like that. Right?
Yeah, so it was more of a mindset shift that you had to make before you.
It was absolutely it was a mindset and it was a perspective shift, right?
Right.
So it was absolutely crucial to receive that coaching, to shift that mindset, to shift that perspective, to bring that new awareness that I absolutely had everything I needed in order to start my own business. Right?
Sort of like your mission statement says, you
Totally.
have everything inside of you. We just need to
Exactly.
plug into that and
Exactly.
figure it out.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So
So
I have firsthand knowledge. Like I tell all my clients, I believe that coaching works because I personally have experienced it.
yeah, you went
Right?
through it.
Where I am today, I would not be had I not received coaching in my cohort. I have a personal coach and I have a business coach. And if anyone ever approaches a coach to engage them and they say they don't need coaching of their own, I would encourage you to run.
I was going to ask that. So
Yeah.
should a coach that you engage with
Yeah.
also always have a coach that
Yes.
they're working with?
Absolutely.
At all times.
If they are practicing what they preach,
Mm.
I would suggest that that's not someone that you probably want to engage. Because every high quality coach that I know also has their own coach and receives their own coaching and mentorship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's really important. I will never be without a coach again. I know that is integral for me to be successful personally and professionally.
Yes, I've invested in coaches as of the last couple of years, and I've really noticed a difference. I've pushed myself to do things like this, a podcast for introverts. Right?
You could ever have done by yourself.
I
And
would have
that's
never.
the whole idea.
Exactly.
Is it's someone that holds space for you and believes in you and knows what you're capable of, even when you doubt yourself. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us, so a little bit more on the personal side.
Yeah.
So what is one thing that you could tell or show someone right now that would make them say, wow?
Oh, that is such a great question.
It could be in business or just personally.
Well, I guess, from a personal perspective, I've had a really interesting journey. So I was married and divorced very young. I had my daughter when I was 21. And I was a single mom for about 12 or 13 years. I raised my daughter all by myself.
Wow.
And through the course of that, I had to finish a university degree. So I was a full-time mom, 2-hour commute every day, taking 3 university courses at night. And managed to, hold it together and raise a little girl and buy my own house and buy my own car and build a successful career. And I won't lie and say that it wasn't hard work. There were a lot of sleepless nights. There were a lot of, times I felt completely worn out and exhausted. But I think, through some of those hard, harsh, challenging times, you learn a lot about yourself. And I certainly learned about my own resilience. And that also makes me believe that, everybody's kind of capable of kind of walking through the fire, right? You learn a lot about yourself when you do that. And sometimes we just struggle with the self-doubt, but you just have to push through and you can do it. So wow. I don't know if that's a wow, but
yeah, I'm saying wow over here. I mean, that's amazing. I'm a mom, but I'm not a single mom, and I have a hard time keeping it all together, and I have my husband to help too, and I'm not taking any university courses either, so hats off to you.
It was hard work, but I was really proud of myself, and I earned my university degree. It was really important that I finished that, and I've gone on to successfully complete other certifications and degrees in the meantime, and each one of them is special, but that one was really important to me. It was really it was really an achievement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you mentioned the word resilience. I think that's the quality that you really need when you're an entrepreneur and when you're in business for yourself. Yeah. You've got to be able to shift with the things that are shifting around you. Otherwise you'll break, right?
That's right.
All right. So I'm going to ask you some questions about your brand. So what does your brand stand for in a few words?
Yeah, I think the brand, not only does the brand stand for me and who I am and what I bring to every single engagement, I think it also is it also is the electricity, it's the energy that my clients require. So I think that that ties into the co-activity that I've talked about previously. And so it really is about creating the energy, the passion that moves you forward, personally and professionally, right?
Mm. And what does your brand stand against if you were to name your enemies, the enemies of your brand?
The
What are
enemy of
those?
my brand. I think, it actually stands against complacency. I think it actually stands against self-doubt, right? I think it stands against inactivity. I think, high voltage, the opposite of that is low wattage, right?
Yeah.
Playing small,
Mm.
being subdued, being quiet, being, having, like, I think about, this superpower. It's like, it's the kryptonite, right? It's like the high voltage is the thing that blows the doors open, right? So it's really against being in this small, powerless state.
Against playing small and
Yeah,
not letting your light shine. I like that. There's so many
exactly.
metaphors that you could
I know,
bring
right?
through this. That's awesome. I love it. Good for you. If any actor would be perfect to play your brand, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a good question. The first person that pops into my head, I think, is Reese Witherspoon. And I'm a whole lot bigger than she is. She's such a tiny human, but she's such a or maybe Kristen Chenoweth,
Oh, I
right?
love her. She's
Yeah,
a powerhouse
like
and she's like this big.
teeny tiny
I
human,
know.
big, huge personality,
Personality.
beautiful, huge projected voice. Those two ladies would probably speak to me if they were ever going to do a movie version of my life.
Oh, that'd be epic. It would have to be a musical.
Yeah, right? Totally.
um, let's see. What is the biggest lesson you've ever learned, either business or life lesson?
I think the biggest lesson for me is to be humble, right? So, despite the fact that I have had some wonderful successes in my life, I've also had some setbacks and failures. I was working this summer on creating my brand story. And through the process of that, I really looked back on some of the failures I've experienced. So, my first marriage, which completely fell apart, some of the failures I've had in business, and to be able to reflect on those and stay humble, but also learn from them, right? And really try and find that silver lining. Those things have been really important lessons for me.
Hmm. I would do a lot of work with my clients on brand story. Would you be willing to share just a little bit of your brand story that you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. So my story it really originates in me being in a corporate HR role and really discovering that high voltage doesn't fit in corporate HR, right? And feeling that smallness, feeling like I was in a lead lined box, and then finally coming to this place where, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Gretchen Rubin and her work, The Four Tendencies, but being in a place where I'm an obliger. So I really want to make everybody else happy, but I do that at the cost of my own happiness. And so that day, being in that one more sort of soul sucking meeting where I finally just couldn't oblige any further. And I had what I call my epic obliger meltdown. And I quit my job in that moment. I said, that's it, I'm done. I want out. And so that moment I've come to recognize was actually like when the seed was planted for high voltage coaching, because that was the electricity,
Yep.
right? So the high voltage grew through that year that I went into. I went right into that coach training. So it grew through that year, but that was the moment. That was the moment the seed was planted. So that's really what my brand, the story of my brand is really the story of me and
Mm-hmm.
my evolution over the last 2 or 3 years, and really coming back to myself. And
And
really coming back to a place where I love and embrace and am happy to be high voltage, and
mhm.
that authenticity is my core value, and I really live that every day.
That's amazing. Yeah, knowing, I don't know about you, but knowing your origin story and sharing that at every possible chance you get with your audience, I think
Yeah.
helps you connect with the right people. Is that what you've been finding? If
That's what
you
I'm
can
really
share that?
trying to
Yeah,
do is, it's such a journey though, right? Like, I think that's the most important part, is that it's been an evolution.
yeah.
And it has taken me some time to get back to that place where I can embrace that and really own that and stand on that. And so now, just this summer was really ready to stand up and really talk about that in a really personal but impactful way. And so I was really, really proud of myself that I could sort of deliver that first talk that really is based on that brand story for me.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Be yourself, be bold, be unapologetically you. That's what I tell
right.
my
Yeah,
clients.
exactly. Yeah.
So you can't, they'll find you out anyway. If you're trying to
Well,
be somebody else, they'll find out who you
I
are.
really can't hide it. It doesn't stay under wraps for very long, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So yeah, I kind of give myself away.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Lindsay, where can people find you online?
Yeah, so I'm just actually in the process of renovating my website, but you can find me at highvoltagecoaching.ca. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at High Volt Coach, and on LinkedIn.
Okay, great. We will have all your links in the show notes as well.
Wonderful.
So thank you for spending time with me today, Lindsay.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciated our conversation.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, that is a wrap for our show today. You can connect with me at beboldbranding.ca or at beboldbranding on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I will see you on our next episode of Bold Moves. Cheers.